All right. Thumbs up. That was the signal that we are live for our event, the Future of Data Startups in Europe today. I'm very excited and pleased that everyone tunes in today. Unfortunately, we can't meet in person, which was originally planned, but in this way, we have a broader audience. So I hope everyone sits comfortable, and for one or another, maybe it's 1 o'clock already. So we have a packed agenda for the next 2 hours. What do we have on the menu for this event today? So we have an interesting keynote of Fabian Westerheide, the founder of Rise of AI. He's with us today. So he will share very valuable insights on the AI ecosystem in Europe. And we have 8 finalist startups of our European Data Incubator, which is a incubation program that we participate in as well. And we started with over 40 startups last year, and those are the final 8 ones. So I'm very pleased to see them later on too. Before we start more or less with the program, just for the audience, for you guys at home, just a quick explanation. Of course, you have the live stream, and next to it, we have the tool Slido. We want to engage with you, and we want you to engage with us. So the networking part, of course, is missing in such a virtual event. So that's why you can reach out to us via this Q&A section. So you can ask any questions for the keynote speaker later on. And of course, we want you to ask questions to our startups. We will also have a poll section, which we launch during the keynote. So we can take this outputs or voting by you guys into the discussion with our guest Fabian, and the same for the startups later on. So that's for the administrative work. And if you are interested in getting connected to the startups as well, there's a contact form which we implemented, so you can reach out to us. So that's our networking room, so to say. I guess the startups will be very pleased to meet any interested stakeholders. So don't be shy. Leave us your contact details, and then we can connect you to our startups. So so why this topic, the future of data startups in Europe, and the question on how to shape the data economy? There won't be probably an answer today. We want to collect variable insights from different parties. But from our work, our daily work within the European Data Incubator and Adventure and EY, we still see that many companies are still not there where they would like to be when it comes to transforming data into successful products or business models. So that's for the corporate side. But on the other hand, we have data-driven startups that have the ability to create new digital solutions, but maybe lacking the data or need more access to public data or data sets where corporates are sitting on, but don't know what to do and deal with it. So I think with the future trends of IoT and the Industry 4.0, it will most likely change, and even with the banking. So there's more and more APIs and connections to huge amounts of data sets. But maybe it's not only the lack of access to data, maybe it's the lack of capital. One can argue, the argument in Europe most likely is that we say, okay, there's not a lot of investment, capital is not here. I think that's a one-sided coin in this discussion, because obviously there is a lot of capital in the market. Maybe it just doesn't know where to float in. So maybe that could be something we should shine light on, as the European Data Incubator, for instance, is a public funded program. There is obviously money from the public side as well, not only from the private side, but there is money by the public. The European Commission and the European Innovation Council are working hard on implementing the next innovation framework, which is called the Horizon Europe framework, which will be lasting from 2021 to 2027. So that's a honeypot of 100 billion euro. And Europe wants to address, of course, the innovation in Europe and improve industrial competitiveness. So they are framing 6 clusters where they want to stream the money into. So that will be health, for instance, that will be industry and space, very upcoming trends. Of course, the most pressing issues of climate change, mobility, and energy. So obviously, there's a lot of money which is coming to the market. It needs to be combined, of course, with private money. And to foster the ecosystem, it is more. It's not if the money doesn't know where to flow in. Maybe the reason is something else why we don't have that many unicorns. Maybe we have to change education and skill development. That's one of the key factors, actually, that needs to be addressed in a very early stage. And as mentioned in the beginning, partnerships maybe between established corporates, companies, and startups to combine their strength and drive our economy. So that's the transition quickly for the European Data Incubator. You will meet the startups very soon, but just to give you a heads up, what is the European Data Incubator exactly? This is a very long-term program that the European Commission set up. So we finished already the second batch of startups. They received money, public money, up to 100,000 euro per startup. For each startup, we started with 40 startups. Now we have the 8 final ones. They got mentoring as well. So obviously working on the skill set and the development of those people behind it. And the most uniqueness is actually the partnership between those startups and corporates, because we were able to set up and onboard large European corporates from different domains in the industry, or industries such as retail. We have Microbes, we have the sports, we have automotive players on board, we have weather data providers on board like UBMIT, banking. So they were opening their data gems and diamonds and said to us, listen, we have this amount of data, we don't know what to do with it. Maybe startups could use this data and build us new digital services. And that's what the startups did with the public funding, but working with private corporations hand in hand. And that's where our startups build new digital services, which they will present to you later on. So that was the quick heads up that you understand what the European Data Incubator actually is. So I guess that was it from the introduction from my side. Now I'm very pleased and excited to meet Fabian Westerheide. He's the founder of Rise of AI and also managing partner of a large VC. And he has very interesting insights. So Fabian, if you could show your happy face to the audience. There he is, very bright Berlin sky. here in Kreuzberg. It is raining, but
it is raining, so it's
nice
more
that you have some sunshine. Yeah, very nice meeting you, and I think the audience is excited to hear what you have on the menu today too. Do I need to introduce you with any more words, or do you want to just go ahead and?
I just start. Do you hear
All
and see
right.
me fine?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
from
Both.
our side it's
Good.
all good. Nice. Fabian, thanks for being here, and everyone out there, enjoy, listen carefully what Fabian has to say, and please again engage with us during his keynote. Use the Slido tool because I want to have many questions that I can ask Fabian and engage into a discussion with him. So thanks, Fabian. Now it's your turn. I mute myself and then see you in a bit.
Wonderful. First, thank you for the invitation. Welcome to this another virtual event, and I think it's cool. We were in discussion, how to set this up weeks before, and then Corona came, and I think it's really good that we have this here virtual now, and that's a wonderful thing that we all are here. But also I like this because it's a very good example how Europe works. I've seen the lineup of all the funded companies and the consortium. So there are a lot of European companies making this incubator real. European Union is financing this. They finance the consortium who's behind this, but they also finance the startups or teams who are behind this. And they have a mission with this. So this is a European way. It's a mixture of private money, private energy, public money, bringing this together. I will come a little bit deeper to this. So let's jump directly into it. And I will talk for the next 20 minutes about the European AI ecosystem, where we are currently standing in contrast to the global market, and where Europe is standing and what we can do about this to improve. So briefly about me. My name is Fabian Westerheide. I'm an entrepreneur and investor with a passion for artificial intelligence. In 2014, I have started Asgard, which is a venture capital firm dedicated only to AI. So since 2014, I and my team, we invest into AI companies who are at the beginning global, but at the end we focus at the end on Europe. And in 2015, I have started to invite people over to discuss AI. I know the first meetup I had with 10 people was the singularity is close. I read Ray Kurzweil and we thought about, hey, how real is this really? And then 10 people showed up, and then we did this again, 60 people, 200 people, 800 people, and then we were supposed to have the Rise of AI conference this year in May with 2,000 people. Well, this didn't happen, so I'm personally I know how it is if business goes down and how you try to pivot. So another thing is we're fast, we're quick. We do this virtual today, and I think I'm sure that we have more people live here today than maybe would have been physical out there. On top, I have the honor to advise governments, companies, European Commission, German Bundestag, a lot of Fortune 500 companies on AI strategy. And some of these insights I share with you in the next 18 minutes, what I think is critical for us. First, we are in a new world order, or I would call it a new technology world order. So in the last years, we have seen a shift to a multipolar world, and I would call it to even a multipolar digital world. India just banned TikTok, which is a huge step because it shows that India is trying to exclude Chinese services and is building its own internet. And China is having for the beginning its own internet, right? Chinese walls, very strong ecosystem, very selected. So they're exporting their technology, but they do not let anything import that easily. For example, like we know it with Google. Google didn't act in China, then they acted again. So we're seeing a multipolar world where everyone is going to build their own internet. And this is critical and important for us. Internet is unfortunately not open anymore as I wish. And in some areas it is, but governments are building their own nets. And the main players there are United States, China, and European Union. And within this, we have seen that technology is now used to drive the economy, the defense, the military, and the politics. So when we had United States versus the rest, it was all about business. Today, it's all about technology. And when we speak about AI, we speak about a very important technology. I don't say AI is the only thing out there. You know, you have quantum, you have blockchain, you have a lot of things, but AI is one of the main driver because it's summing up so much more into it. And for me, I would say in the public awareness, the turning point was 2016 when Lee Sedol lost 4-0, 4-1 against AlphaGo. So AlphaGo was a neural nets based software at the end, algorithm or AI, which was winning the game of Go. And it was especially in China, it was a Sputnik moment. China realized, hey, this is an ancient game. It's coming from our region. It's like chess for the Westerns. And we had our Sputnik moment, by the way, when Kasparov lost against IBM Deep Blue in 1996, 1997. So the Chinese realized, oh, there's a technology out there. We don't control it, and it's amazingly. And for me, it's a turning moment because those who are already longer in AI, they know AI is there since Alan Turing worked on, on the machines. We have expert systems for decades out there. But in 2016, we had the official shift from expert system to machine learning based systems as the ruling main driver of the hype, of the trend. And today we have a lot of systems out there. I call them machine-based systems. We speak about neural nets. We speak about, decision trees, evolutionary algorithm, generative adversarial networks. So a lot of tools out there, a lot of frameworks, a lot of approaches. But what all they have in common is machines started to learn on themselves. Machines started to improve. And the old world is machines had all the knowledge given by humans, and then they were able to brute force coming up with the best result very fast. Today, you just give data into a system, tell the machine to figure out an approach themselves, or you give them something to optimize, and then they improve on themselves until they do it. That also means that data became very, very important. For expert system, data was not so crucial. Today, it's super, super crucial. And that's why this whole program is so critical, because data is the fundamental core. Without data, there aren't any AIs. And when I speak about AI, I don't only speak about code. AI is for me the whole ecosystem. That means we speak of the data, we speak about hardware, startups, investors, policymaking, users, enterprises. This whole plays into the AI ecosystem. I mean, AI today is just more than writing code on machines. AI is the whole system around this. And first entrepreneurs got this. 2014 turning moment. AlexNet, was really successful. I got into it because the first papers were, published about neural nets and so forth. Then the investors saw it. Entrepreneurs are the first one. First the researchers got it, then the entrepreneurs got it and building AI companies. Then the investors got into it, and everyone who runs an AI company knows investors needed 1 or 2 years longer to realize how this is a trend. Then the journalists got the hold, and they started to write about this. And then finally, politicians realized, oh, AI is something we need to consider. And then you can see here on the chart, it's on my left here, that all the national plans came out, and China was the first one going all in. As I said, Sputnik moment with AlphaGo for them. United States was very fast under Barack Obama to go all in into AI too, but then Trump came, he killed everything which Obama was doing, so they fall back in the line and they didn't have a strategy for a couple of years. Also important to note is that Israel, UK, and Canada were really fast adopting new AI strategies. They did it really fast, especially Canada, building in Montreal a really nice ecosystem of funding researchers and talents. And France, Germany, they all came with their own strategies. Interesting to note, European Union was very late. European Union itself waited until all the nations had their own strategy. And second, I've never seen anything like this before. I'm in the internet for years, and I've never seen so many countries competing on a technology like this. It didn't happen for blockchain, it didn't happen for the internet, for e-commerce, for mobile. It didn't happen, but AI is the first time everyone takes it serious. And what we have today is I call a three-system internet or AI ecosystem. The three ones are the main ones. We have the United States, which is the critical one. We have China, which is the critical one. And we have European Union in the middle. And I say those three are the critical ones because 90% of talents, capital, research companies are all located there. For example, China has 14 unicorns only in the AI space. 90% of all papers published are coming from these 3 hubs. All the capital, up to 98% of the capital, is all there. I just say this because Latin America, Africa, they are not relevant. They are not relevant for all of this. And this is not a good thing for theirs. And it's an indication that the ruling countries or the fast-moving countries attracting the most of this. So we're here. Example, for example, by the way, Europe, we in Europe, Paris, London, Berlin, these 3 capitals have 2/3 of all startups and of funding. So if you want to have an AI company, you're one of those 3 cities, that's great. If you go, for example, for Rome is not relevant in the whole ecosystem. So again, here we see a concentration of capital and data and everything in a very small hub. So whatever we have seen before about, concentration of resources with AI, this is just accelerated. And I would like to jump quickly on United States, China, and Europe, compare them, what we can learn from this, and then have a smaller deep dive into, how Europe is doing, and then what we can learn from this. And China was going all in, I said 2016, 2017, with the most ambitious plan from all nations. They were nothing else than ruling the world by 2030. So I think this is something interesting about Chinese. Chinese side, we want to rule the world by 2030 with AI. And also they are the only nation who say we aim for AGI. We want to have the next super intelligence. If there is a super AI out there one day, it should be Chinese. And even this is a little bit unrealistic because we know AGI is super hard to reach. At least Chinese have the vision to go bold. And just as an example, they started with 30 billion to invest. Today it's 130 billion. They are investing, already have invested. And just in contrast, Chinese, 130 billion. German federal budget 2018, 1 year after this came out, was 500,000 euros. So Germany tried to go, hey, we are doing it too with 500,000 euros, while the Chinese doing it with 130 billion dollars. So they mean it serious. They mean it full. And while they are all in, the rest of the world, they are on the poker table. They're still like, oh, honestly, I don't want to invest any chips at all, which is maybe the totally wrong approach. Which led to that China is the #1 today. I would say China is the first AI superpower. Not they are, the only one out there, but they are very, very good. They have the most capital in the market. 48% of all capital invested into AI is going into Chinese startups. At the same time, they have a little bit less startups than Europe has and the United States has, which means they have even more funding in average per company. They have the most research papers by now published in AI. So Chinese publish more papers. Also, they have the most quotations by now. They don't have the most quality like H-index yet, but they are very close to United States in terms of quality. So China knew they were not good in research. They invested a lot into research. They attracted a lot of talents, gave a lot of incentives out, and within a couple of years, they were from non-relevant in the publication space to #1 player in the amount of publications and #2 in the quality of publications. By the way, we are on the same level for years. We didn't have a lot of increase, and China is way above us. Second, and they are huge on data. We know they do it like almost perfectly on data. They have a free data market, and I will come to this in a second, but they do it. And also infrastructure. They have the right infrastructure. I mean, they have invested. I've seen whole cities how they build for incubators, for accelerators, for investors, for startups. I mean, if you want to run an AI company, you go to China, you don't pay taxes, you get a lot of state funding. I mean, this is a wet dream for every entrepreneur out there. I don't say you go there, but I know research friends who switched from Germany to China because they get 10 times more funding for the research, don't pay taxes, have luxury apartments, etc., etc. I mean, that's a huge incentive in the global competition for talents. So, and they are very fast in applications. If you go there, they use it in schools already. They use it for applications. There's a company called Squirrel AI, which is already teaching millions of students with adaptive learning based on, AI. And you could say you see a lot of robots in offices and streets. If you want to have face detection for offices, they have it in real time. The industry is very incentivized to use AI. Politicians are all into AI. Everyone, every city, every hub wants to attract AI talents because it is important for their career. And sure, they waste a lot of money. If state is going out there and spending, building cities, half of the cities will be empty. Half of the cities are empty, no one is moving in. But the other half of cities and hubs are bustling, and they have the talents, they attract the talents, they bring the capital to work. So I think government has to waste some money, which we call investment, that the other side is working fine. And then last slide for China, perfect example how it works is well, they use AI to control society, and the social score is a very beautiful example. So they have it, not for every Chinese, but for hundreds of Chinese already out there, a social source system. So the government centralized collecting data. They collect your health data, your financial data, your movements, your digital data, and camera data. And they all collect this to generate movement profiles, behavior profiles, content profiles about you. What does it do? For example, if you don't, if you walk over a red light, you spit your chewing gum on the street, or you don't pay your bill on times, you write negatively in public media about some of the government, you get minus points. But if you pay your invoices on time, if you behave good in the Chinese way, you get plus points. And if you get plus points, you get upgrades, like you can get faster visas, better jobs, you can, reproduce easier and so forth. So the Chinese are already using huge data amount to control the society back and forth. And what I want to say with this is, we can learn from this how to integrate AI, but also how to use it more ethical and more corrupt. So China is a real life science fiction movie already out there. And, as I said, we can learn from this, but it's out there, it's real, and they use it a lot. And I have a lot of more examples how they use AI, for example, corona, face detection, and surveillance. And then let's jump to the United States, because time is a little bit limited. And the United States are a strong system. And Silicon Valley and Boston are the epicenters of AI. I mean, especially Stanford and the MIT have brought out some of the best brains in AI and still doing this. They have amazing AI researchers. They have Google, Amazon, Microsoft, which are the main AI player out there. They control the semiconductor industry. They control the cloud space with AWS. They control the capital market. They have huge talents. They have wonderful universities, and very important, government lets AI companies do what they want, but through DARPA and NSA, and we all know the DARPA challenge, they infuse a lot of money into the ecosystem at a very basic level. So what government is doing right there is they give fundamental researchers and entrepreneurial teams money, free money, do it whatever you want to, and then they let it go. So they are stimulating the ecosystem at a very young stage, and then they let it flow. What we already see tensions today. So China started to ban Chinese technologies. They started to ban Chinese researchers. And I think the only thing holding the United States currently back is Trump. So if Trump would be aligned with the interest of Silicon Valley, we would see a superpower using their mighty and their intelligence for a lot of more things. But since Silicon Valley doesn't trust Trump, they don't cooperate, which is something good for us in Europe. We can use this. But on the other hand, it also means it just takes one election to change everything around. And then let's have a look at Europe. Where is Europe in the AI ecosystem standing today? And first, we don't have enough capital. Andre just said there's a lot of capital. I agree, but the capital is not flowing into AI. I mean, everyone out there, I'm pretty sure you would say fundraising sucks, and it wasn't easy. I have a couple of portfolio companies, and even they get funded, it's not an easy thing. When I was in China, I met some startups that's like, well, we collected 20 million in 6 weeks. Just because the market is like overflowing and overheated. It's quite the opposite here. If you want to have 5 million for your startup, well, hustle a lot, especially for AI. It's not easy yet. So the money is not there. Another thing is Europe lacks vision. We don't have any clue why we want to use AI and for what. We are driven by fears, and I will come to this in a couple of minutes, but we don't have a big goal. We don't have a big plan. All we want to know is we want to prevent risk instead of enabling a system. So our whole regulation system is about controlling and maintaining, not about building something up. But you have an ecosystem, you need to nurture it. You need to give it nutrients and soil and water and let the small flowers grow. And when it's a tree, you cut it a little bit, but you let it grow. You want to make it big. You need to protect it. And this is what we need. Another thing Europe has a huge problem is we don't have a society which is accepting technology. One thing, for example, in Germany is we have a ministry which is called Technologiefolgenabschätzung. I can't even translate it, but we have a ministry which is at least calling something like how to prevent technologies, like the consequences of it. We have a mindset of technology equal terrible. We need to control it because it could destroy everything, you know, like killing jobs and, you know, unemployment rate and all this. That's wrong thinking. That's really wrong thinking. Society needs to think positive about technology, and politicians too. So good news is in Europe, we have data. We have a lot of data. It's not easy to access, but we have it. We have a lot of talents. I mean, the whole program shows how many talents we have. You will later hear the pitches of some really smart people out there. So smart people out there, we have great researchers. We have startups, not enough, but we have startups. That's good. And then Europe has a huge problem about adopting AI technologies, especially in the SMEs. So our Mittelstand, our small, medium-sized companies, they don't use AIs a lot. And I would say it's always this example like Amazon and Walmart. Amazon is around for 20 years, and for 20 years, Walmart says, I don't care for them. And then they turn online and it's too late. So it's our industries doing the same. They say, I don't care about the internet. I don't need AI. And then it's too late. Then Alibaba is the new competitor, and they're, you know, they don't got the data, don't have the talent. We are acting too late. And this is why I'm here today speaking to you. So we don't act too late, we act now. So Europe is working on a strategy. They published in February a data strategy and a white paper for AI. If you haven't read it, well, summary is Europe wants to control data. I think this is a good approach. And the second is they want to control AI too, which I think is the right idea, but it's the wrong approach in the terms of you don't want to control it, you need to build it first. Still, it's out there. Problem, politicians are driven by their fears. They want to control it if they don't understand it well. I say we shouldn't control it, we should let it grow first before you start cutting. And so before I go into the last minute about, you know, Europe, I want to say something important. AI is only a tool. You know, AI is not good or bad. We can use it for good or bad. And this is how we build a narrative around this. We can use AI to solve our energy problem. Every one of us can live in prosperity and abundance if you use energy, if you have more energy sources, if we, you know, reduce energy costs, if we increase efficiency, etc. Everyone knows if you use an AI or software to increase or augment your job, you're saving time. And we can use this. AI has amazing potential. But on the same time, AI can be used for surveillance, for control, for manipulation, for power, for dominance. And if you don't do it right, I tell you, 0.1% of society will control AI, and they will control everything. If you think, you know, the top is having too much power with AI, it will get even worse, because you only need to have 100 AI companies to run the whole ecosystem at the end. And that's why it's important that we, you know about this. We don't condemn AI, we want to build it, but we know also about the downside, and we need to discuss both. So last minutes, what we need is a strong European AI ecosystem. And well, first let's start with regulation. All the politicians out there, or just tell them what I told them, yes, please protect us. Politicians in Europe, start protecting our industry, start protecting our startups, protect them against Alibaba, Amazon, Tencent, you know, close the European market a little bit, give our startups time to grow until they are ready to compete, because no one out there plays with the rules. No one is open market. If we're the only stupid one out there playing for free market, well, we lose at the end. It's a tough world out there, so our European market should be protected. We need this. Second, so help us to grow. Then please start with a taxation which is fair. It's not fair that we pay here a lot of taxes, which is fine, but Google, Amazon, and co, they don't pay taxes at all. They use our data and they don't even pay taxes for this. We could use the money. We could use the money to invest in our startups, our welfare, our retirement plans, UBI, etc. We could use the money. Next one, we need free market for data in Europe. We need more data. We should get rid of our fear to use data. We should use data more freely, as long as it doesn't invade too much of our privacy. Another thing is we need an open market for talents. We need way more talents. Europe is a wonderful place to live. Everyone wants to live in Europe. It's wonderful, except of the weather sometimes. So please let more talents from all over the world come in. Let them live here. Let them, you know, start a family here. Let them work here. Let them start businesses. United States was really successful with attracting the smartest people from the world. We should do the same. And then we need the machines here. We need a lot of more infrastructure here. We need more cloud here. We need more processors here, more GPUs here, more semiconductors here, more quantum computers here. We need the physical machines here too. For the businesses out there, well, please start using AI, start building AI, start investing into AI. Society, how do I say it best? We are all in this. Yes, I mean the future is already there. We shouldn't wait anymore. And I think it's important that we act now for the interest of our children, if you have some, for our business, but also for our values. I mean, do you want a social score, a Chinese social score running in Europe? It will come sooner or later, but do you want at least a score system which is based on European values of democracy and open speech, or do you want to have a score system which is driven by Chinese values or maybe American interests at the end? We need regulation, we need control, but regulation should aim for protecting us, not for making us small and doesn't let us grow. So for the businesses out there, please, cooperate with startups, use them, integrate them, give them a chance, start to network, go out for meetings, do business, provide data, please provide data and provide capital. You will receive a lot today. If you're a researcher, by the way, out there, please make your research usable, make it adaptable, give it to startups or start your own company, and think long-term on the other hand. We need more visionary researchers out there. For example, solve AGI problems. AGI is so hard to solve. At least we should research for it and have the ambitions. And everyone else there, embrace AI. Let's work on a storyline, on a vision for a better Europe, how AI can help us to live longer, to live happier, how we all use this opportunity for a better life altogether. I would say thank you for listening for the keynote. I think we will have a short Q&A if I've left some time. Feel free to follow up with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Just add me on LinkedIn or with any of my companies. It was a pleasure. And I think, Andre, now you can come online.
Yes, Fabian, there I am. Nice. Thank you for your input and your insights. Even I could have a few takeaways and very interesting topics that you mentioned, especially in building the AI ecosystem in Europe. We all know Europe is like the security heaven. We all like to have it secure. We don't want to give up our privacy settings. And I totally agree with your point that by holding back actually and not moving forward with our own or building with our own AI ecosystem, that we leave the field for the stronger players, like the Chinese or American corporates. We have some time for some Q&A and some feedback, of course. We collected a poll actually during your speech, which sort of aligns already with what you mentioned. And our question to the audience was, what poses the greatest threat on European big data and AI development? So it was first, weak access to data, so with strong regulations and lack of data. Secondly, insufficient capital for investment and insufficient consumer demand for AI solutions. So maybe there is no demand and that's why we are not moving forward in this regard, or it's the lack of skilled workforce. And the audience are rated or voted, and we have 48% who say we have weak access to data, which you already mentioned. But so my question to you, would you fully align on this, or how do we, because you mentioned we need to balance it out between our security and making more data public. How can we start, or what's the weakest point you see where we should start moving forward?
Let me give two examples. For example, like like from my portfolio. There's a company I2X, yes, and I2X is doing support for a call center. So at the end, they're listening to the calls, they are transcribing the whole call, and then they're giving you real-time feedback what to say and what not. And if you listen to the machine and do what the machine tells you, you're doing way better sales. So it's making you more productive and more successful in your business without replacing you. And that's how AI is. It's an augmentation, it's a tool to make you more efficient. And here the data is not the problem. So the startup has done it smartly enough because they are so much integrated, they get in real time the data. Sure, they need to train and they needed to have clients for building the prototype, but they were able to generate either their own data or they had some prototypes data. So I learned that data is honestly not the bottleneck. We say it is, but it's not if you have a smart approach. The thing is, how to get the data is one of your core things for a startup to get funding. It's a core thing, and they call it the data feedback loop. So all the startups I have funded, they have solved this, how to get the data. A lot of startups who didn't get funding, they had this problem, they couldn't solve the data. So data should be core of your strategy out there. I would say there is enough data. It's not easy, I agree, but it is solvable. Same about capital. We have enough capital, not enough, but there is sufficient capital out there. And if you have the right network, the right strategy, the right approach, you get to it. So we all know if you're an entrepreneur, you solve the problem. Still, it's not easy. And I agree that data could be way easier. And it's the first thing, it's the mindset in the company. Another portfolio company from here called Microbes Industries, they had at the beginning the problem. They didn't get the data. They really had to drive to the factory, and then the factory gave them a USB stick, physical, and say, hey, this is all our data from this machine. They drove back, injected this into neural net. They let the neural net do the magic. And that was not scalable. That was very painful. And there we learned this is not a market. It's not ready because the factories are not connected. They don't collect the data. They don't have data warehousing. They don't have infrastructure. So I would say if you're a startup out there, go for markets who already know about the value of the data and work with this, or you have to invest a lot of painful time to educate your clients and start. Or other words, don't talk about AI if you don't have a data strategy. First start to learn, you have data, collect it, analyze it, then you start doing predictions, and then, only then you start talking about AI if you have everything already in place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Another question that came up to my mind actually is because you showed us the pictures of Boston Dynamics, or that's a military or Pentagon-funded company. So maybe if Europeans have this vision of a dark future in AI, so maybe it has something to do what we constantly see, maybe it has something to do with the pictures of moving robots that are that would put us in danger, maybe. So there's a lot of AI development, obviously in military areas, I guess. So would you agree on this, or where is your industry that you would see personally that would have maybe the most positive impact on us, that we might have a turnaround in thinking of AI? So is there any life situation or where it would have a very positive impact on us that we rethink the topic?
So what would I do? I would use AI for a job-free or work-free future. So I would say, hey, our goal is not to use AI for military purpose. We still have to consider it, but don't. Let's use AI for the benefits of society. Let's use AI that no one has to work in future anymore, but they could. So if you go into science fiction, there's the culture series, and they have solved this. They use technology so smart and wisely that no one is forced to work to survive. Everyone is going for a job like a philosopher or mathematician, or they are cleaning tables just because they'll enjoy doing something with their hands. No one is forced to stay at home. But I say, let's think free. Let's use technology so no one has to work anymore. Let's get rid of poverty. Let's get rid of retirement problems. I say, let's build a future where everyone can have retirement the whole time. Or I say, like a cruise ship. Yes, it's like food and entertainment, and sleeping is it's a flat rate, and then you are free to do whatever you want. If you want to have an upgrade, well, get a job. But if you're living with a basic and you're fine with this, you're fine with this. And AI could be wonderful a tool. So I would say let's use AI, for example, to clearly benefit society, that we all don't need to work anymore if you don't want to. That's the opposite of using AI for military domains. Just imagine we use AI smartly and we increase automation. And then we have the factories all there who are automated, and the productions who are automated, and the services are automated. And we enjoy the services because everything is cheaper, more affordable, and we don't have the fear of unemployment rate anymore, because we call it free time rate, like how much free time everyone has in his life, which we try to optimize. I mean, isn't this then a place where everyone wants to live?
Sounds good to me, definitely.
Yeah. I say we should start dreaming, even if it's unrealistic and it's hard to achieve. At least let's have a positive dream about the future, which is not we want to rule the world. So it's more like, hey, we want to have the great life for everyone out there.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, everyone, even this crazy Corona times, maybe got set back and realized that working less is maybe sometimes a very positive fact as well in life. So totally. There's a couple of more questions on our Slido tool, but as I would like to stick to the timetable, we move forward with our startups, but we have the contact form in our webpage as well. So in case of you out there in the audience, we couldn't answer your pressing questions right now, leave us a note via the contact form. I know there's only the possibility to contact us via a startup, or like for a startup or for the EDI incubation, but you can leave a comment that you would like to maybe have an answer answered by Fabian, and then maybe we can forward that to you. But thanks for being here. Very interesting insights, and it was great to see you today. We talked a lot on the phone already recently, and I think we will see each other again very soon. Thanks, Fabian, for tuning in, and I think now we move on. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation, and everyone out there, just ping me on Twitter. Then it's public. I will answer on this. It's bootstrapping me. Just ping me on Twitter if you have a question, then I can answer, and everyone else will get it too. Just link eVentures and the EBI incubator, and then we can share the knowledge. Let's use technology, and I wish you a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thanks, Fabian. Nice summary of you guys. So everyone, contact Fabian, please. Yeah. Now, as promised, we also have data startups already sitting and waiting to present themselves. As mentioned earlier, maybe some other people are tuned in and missed the introduction. We have 8 startups now who were part of our European Data Incubator, a public-funded incubation program that runs through an 8-month incubation, and the startups have access to data sets of large European corporations. And those corporates created challenges and had certain pain points, which they wanted to have addressed, and reached out to us. And the startups could apply on those data sets and build new digital services and solutions hand in hand in an iterative way with the companies. So I'm very excited to see what are the final results by our startups. And as a first startup, I would like to ask Miguel from Orbin on the virtual stage. So please come forward and show your happy face. Hi, Miguel. I see you sit comfortably, and I see the winning hat of EDI just behind you of our last stage gate in Bilbao when we still could travel. Yeah, I welcome you. I don't need to introduce you anymore. I would like to ask you now to start and show what you've done to our audience.
Exactly. So let me get started. Just confirm that you can see my screen.
It does work, yes.
Perfect. Very nice. Florian already made a very nice introduction, and we fully agree with his vision. For us, the future of AI is shaped by two main factors that were already mentioned. One is the access to data, and the other one that is even more relevant is the vision of it. What do you do with the data? So in this context, we will have to thank the European Data Incubator to giving us access to the data. This is a data that has empowered us to use AI for good with a triple impact. So we put food on the table where we most need it, we reduce our CO2 emissions, and we pave the way towards a sustainable future. And we create all of this value by classifying one single object, an egg. And to understand the importance of classifying eggs, we have to take a step back or forward, depending on which happens first, and talk about chickens. The poultry industry grows two different breeds of birds, broilers for meat and layers for eggs. Broilers are optimized to gain weight as quickly as possible, but they suffer from lower fertility rates. Every time we put an infertile egg in an incubator, we waste it. We cannot eat that egg anymore, but we also waste incubation space, time, and money. Likewise, layers are designed to lay as many eggs as possible, but that leaves the males in a bad situation because they obviously don't lay eggs, but they cannot compete with the broilers in the market, in the mid market. So they're hatched, they're manually sexed, and then they get killed. These are issues that affect us all. Every year, we waste 9 billion perfectly edible infertile broiler eggs. 9 billion eggs are enough to feed 1 egg per day to half of the world's starving children. At the same time, we kill 7 billion one-day-old male chicks. That is the human population in the globe yearly. We need to change this. We need to do this in a disruptive manner because real impact lives in the intersection of a huge problem, a breakthrough technology, and a radical solution. So for the huge problem, we already have it. The breakthrough technology is AI, of course. And for a radical solution, we thought, why not to take a tray of eggs and throw it into an MRI machine? And some of you may think, well, that's crazy. MRI is too expensive, too slow, too complicated. That will never work in hatchery. And you're right, MRI alone is all of these things. But if you take MRI and energize it with AI, it becomes fast, it becomes cheap, and it becomes simple. And that opens a world of possibilities where an industrial-grade egg MRI scanner evolves from being a totally crazy idea to a real technological breakthrough. Our AI algorithms take a look at the 3D scan data and classify the eggs between fertile or infertile, male or female. These are the two applications we are developing. Fertility detections happens on day 0. We scan the eggs before incubation. We separate the infertile ones and supply them as food. A few days later, we classify males and females. Females go back to the incubator, and males become the raw material for vaccine development. Instead of hatching them, sexing, and killing them, we give these eggs a better use. Moreover, because AI is so efficient, we can actually increase the profit of the hatchery owners. So picture this, we classify one single object, and we make a difference in a triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. And that is the very definition of sustainable development, where economical sustainability is paramount for long-term impact. To feed the rising population, the poultry industry incubates 90 billion eggs a year, and that adds up for a total market estimate for sexing and fertility together of more than 2 billion euros. We are not alone in this race. However, we are one of the only companies that offer a contactless, non-invasive, and GMO-free solution that works for sexing, fertility detection, and scales quickly to the industrial throughput of eggs. To build such a solution, we put together a solid team that combines expertise in MRI, avian embryology, and artificial intelligence. Orbam started in 2017 as a spin-off of the Technical University of Munich. Since then, we have raised more than 1.8 million euros in equity-free funds through awards. And with the support of the European Data Incubator, we are unleashing the power of AI for good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Miguel. Great. Great solution, and yeah, very applied to life science. As I promised, we wanted to collect some questions for you to engage the audience at home. So I have a question for you already. So the first question would be, why do you specifically targeted this market? How did you come up with that?
Well, poultry, you mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we come from the MRI field. We are experts in MRI and AI. And here at the university, we have a very nice combination because we have a strong group in MRI, we have a strong group in AI, and we have an avian embryology department in the life science that already work in the problem. And the combination of these factors enabled the group that started with the research back in 2017, and now, well, a little bit as Fabian was saying, like researchers should take the lead and create companies. That's exactly what we did. We started with the research back in the days. Now we are taking this solution into the market.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. I recently read as well in the European scoreboard of the European Commission that Europe actually is stronger in science than in innovation. So it has a problem with transferring scientific output into the market, into innovative product. But you are a perfect example that it actually works. Very nice. Just quickly, a second question to move forward after that to the next startup. How easy was it to you to obtain funding? I mean, we've seen you received a lot of funding from programs, you know, like the KIC. And but have you had any private investments in your startup as well?
Well, we have equity-free investments from some private foundations from the States, but most of our funding comes from public funds. Like the German government is the biggest part of the money we have now, which also comes with a big component from the European Union, and also EDI helps us a lot to develop specific components that are oriented to transfer this research, not from the AI perspective, but from the product perspective. At least at the end, AI doesn't live just there. You need to enable it with a platform, with an infrastructure. And for that, EDI was very useful.
Nice. Yeah, very warm words towards the EDI community and everyone who works very hard behind it. Thanks, Miguel, for showing us your final product, and see you very soon. And now I would transfer to the next startup, Miguel. Bye-bye. Now I would like to ask Suhas of the team Twarit. Sorry, it's always a tongue twister. Yeah, you were there already. Switch on. No, show your face first. That would be lovely if we see who's behind it.
Thank you, Andre. It is Twarit. Yeah. Twarit. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you show yourself quickly to the audience?
Yeah.
There we are. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Now I welcome you to be our next startup. You've worked hard the last 8 months as well, and you are now amongst the finalists of our incubation program. And to stick to the timetable, I would like to ask you now to share the screen, but I wanted to have the audience, or that the audience sees your face first.
Cool. Now you should be able to see my screen, Andre, right?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Thank you very much, Andre and Fabian. Really very impressive speech, keynote speech. I learned a lot about the statistic, what is happening between China, America, and European Union. Good afternoon, everyone. The time is crazy during COVID, and I'm very happy that technology is making it available, possible for this event to happen, right? But on the other side, we are part of the technology clan and very proud at the same time where I feel responsible to work on a solution on an advanced technology which can help manufacturing industry to take the data-driven decisions. So basically, in 2019, we had participated in 8 exhibitions and surveyed 152 manufacturing companies and retail industries. And we asked for the challenges. What are the challenges? The number one, they said this AI is too complex and it is very costly to implement. Number two, discovering the AI's right use case. And number three, scaling from 1 to n machines or retail store once a AI model is built. So what we did, we took that as a challenge. We built the whole algorithmic AI platform with 100+ algorithmic modules. And we built ready-made solution for each industry, very specific solution. For example, predictive maintenance for the cold forming machine, or predictive analytics for the retail stores. So very specific solution which we built to reduce the complexity in AI. Number two, what we did, most of the industries, as Fabian mentioned, they have data, but they don't know what to do with the data. So we had created this early engagement program. That's a whole framework which can find out the most impactful use case out of available data. You don't need to extract more data from the available data. Number three, scalability. We had in-house R&D, and we developed this cognitive machine intelligence to scale the solution from 1 machine to n machine in minimum time and minimum cost. How we do it? We built the algorithmic library with 100+ ready-to-use algorithmic modules. These algorithmic modules are available for data preparation, data understanding, predictive analytics, or a risk management. And using this algorithmic module, we built a solution. For example, when we work on an EDI data, which was provided by Microbes, their problem statement was to predict the basket size using from the ambience condition on the store. Now we took that as a challenge. We developed the solution within no time. It did not take us long time, but we take a step further. We provided them a 360-degree AI for all retail use cases, like promotional KPI versus sales, smart pricing, or prescriptive analytics. Same way for the manufacturing industry. We worked in the manufacturing industry for the steel industry, for this particular steel industry use case. In their production, they had 5% of the defective coils. But when the coil is produced and then they recognize that it is defective, it takes 2 days for the lab results to come. We took the 800 sensor data from the whole production line, and in real time, we could predict if this particular coil is going to be failing in quality or passing. We could save 9 out of 12 defective pieces, saving 225,000 euros per month for them. We built this in the same manner, we had developed the solution, specific solution for optimizing OEE for aluminum coil manufacturing, predictive maintenance for industrial electrical motors, AI-based production planning for cable industry, predicting quality for the metal die casting processes. How we do it? Our USP is we focus only and only resources. What are resources? 4M: man, machine, material, and money. With strong focus on R&D, and we are partnering with IIT Bombay and TU Darmstadt for that, and we develop these algorithmic modules. We have also developed our invention. Google had in 2014 inception model for image data, BAD model in 2018 for text data. We developed the transfer learning for the machine sensor data in 2019. We call it APA model. We have a strong teams. We have people from a business background, industry professional, research scientist, as well as professionals from the business side as well. And on top of that, we have 18 plus data scientists in our team. We are working with 32 companies right as of now, and many other research organizations to make it to go into the market. And we have found a very good success in the market in last 6 to 7 months. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Suhas. I'm just waiting that you show your face. Nice, thank you. That is very AI at its deepest. We have some questions for you as well. They are more related, actually. I don't know if you were or if you had any investments by private corporates already.
Yes.
If yes, then there's a question of what is the situation of private equity investments for AI and data in Europe? So how do you see the willingness of European investors in AI solutions from your personal perspective?
Yeah, so we have been building this solution and the platform for last 3 years. We achieved some customers, but we established the company in March 2019, and we got the investment into December 2019. So within 9 months, we had the first investment round. So, and then we had second investment round in March 2020. So, I mean, in my perspective, it is really going well. We need to deliver technology. We need to talk with customers. If you have customers and the technology, I think investors will follow you. And in our case, we did not go to the investors. They came to us. They found us.
Nice. Very nice summary. Just one last very quick question. What influence does the GDPR have on your AI product? Is there any influence on it?
The GDPR?
Yeah, the German GDPR. Or the European?
No. Actually, we have on-premise solution as well. So we provide edge analytics, cloud solution, and on-premise as well. But the data remains within customers' premises or customer cloud. So we don't take the data. We install our software in their cloud or premises. So
so it's not very tangible. All right. Understood. Thank you, Suhas, for tuning in, and we will see you very soon, I guess. And I'm asking the next speaker, the next startup on stage. Suhas, see you. Now it's Josep's time of the startup Better Cities. There he is. Very warm welcome to you as well. I hope you feel good to present yourself. Where are you at the moment?
Now at the moment I'm in Barcelona, in the office, in our facilities. Nice. We are sharing, we are balancing working at home and working in the office because we need to calibrate our technology, and we have to be here also even in these exceptional times.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we are slowly coming back to the offices too. So it's good to sit properly on a desk. Very nice seeing you. I think the audience now is excited to see your pitch and your solution that you have developed within the incubation. And I tune out and leave you the stage.
Okay, just to confirm, can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andre, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josep Perelló, CEO and co-founder of Better Cities, a deep tech company located in Barcelona. As you may know, air pollution causes 1 in 9 deaths worldwide. It's an invisible killer. Many more people suffer from respiratory and other related diseases, making these people even more exposed to the COVID-19. Air pollution also affects the neuropsychological development in children and also fertility in adults. Actually, people living in more polluted areas have 25% more risk of not conceiving a baby and 40% more risk of having a miscarriage. This is really serious. Really serious. Yeah, but the good news is that with local actions, dealing with hotspots, emissions and individual exposures can be reduced by 30% or more. This is why cities are trying to understand how pollution behaves. But today, the reality is that traditional monitoring stations are very expensive. They cost hundreds of thousands of euros, including civil works and continuous calibration. So cities are only installing a small number of them, for instance, just 7 in Barcelona. And you cannot solve a problem if you don't know about it. But there's a solution. The solution is better. A large-scale deployment of very accurate sensors that coexist with traditional stations but permit cities for the first time to map air quality in real time on a previously unimaginable scale. Our platform consists on the devices installed in streetlights, a platform software for cities, and an app for citizens. Thanks to our in-house calibration plus our post-processing algorithm, we are working in the same range that traditional stations, but at a fraction of the cost, 1/30th, and without needing any kind of calibration for 2 years. Our platform permits, first, to identify unknown sources of pollution, and second, most important, it permits to assess the impact of the mitigation actions in order to identify the most cost-effective ones. And now, thanks to EDI and thanks to UBMed, our data provider, we can also predict pollution episodes with accuracy. Many thanks. It's important to point out that pollution episodes causes the worst days in hospital admissions and daily mortality. And apart from that, it's a very useful tool to assess the impact of the actions with accuracy, because you can know what should happen in normal conditions. We have invested 800,000 euros to develop the technology, and now we have raised almost 2 million euros to bring the technology into the market and to carry out 2 big pilots in Barcelona and Rome, along with Cisco and Telecom Italy. During the EDI project, we have implemented our prediction algorithms using historical air pollution data from the European Environment Agency, and also using weather data from our data provider, UBMed, essential to predict with accuracy. Here, you can see our platform, including the backend, the front end, the data ingestion, and the artificial intelligence modules. The red modules were developed during the project, and all microservices are based on Dockers, being very scalable and replicable anywhere. Our solution was applied to 73 locations in 13 European countries, and we have achieved a correlations up to 20% better than the well-known Copernicus service CAMS for forecasting. Everything has been possible to our multidisciplinary team that includes PhD data scientists, full-stack developers, electronic engineers, and business developers. To conclude, air pollution is a crisis of public health. The market is already asking our solution. We have the better technology, the better team, and now we also have air pollution forecasting. So please join us to live in better cities. Thank you very much, EDI. Thank you very much, UBMed. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Josep, for that interesting pitch. If you, yeah, perfect. Just stop sharing the screen and reactivate your camera. Yeah, very pressing issue, especially if you live in larger cities like us in Berlin, yeah, you in Barcelona. As you have hardware components as well, selling. A question for you from the audience would be, first, we have 2 interesting questions. How does the technical infrastructure in Europe influences your product and your target market? Maybe that relies or wants to put into frame if there are potential public data about the air pollution as well, which you could have access to or not. So I understood you are collecting with the hardware your own data, or how
yes,
would
right.
it be able to connect to the public infrastructure, for instance, as well?
Yes, to test actually during the EDI project, and to run, to test, and to fine-tune our prediction algorithms, we have used the historical data from the public traditional monitoring stations that the European Environment Agency is providing this data. So we need this information, and yes, there are other countries like in Japan that the density of traditional stations is bigger, but in Europe I think it's around it's over one in total. It's around 1,000 stations. So well, it was quite good to test in our technology, and what it was apart from the public infrastructure, what it was a key point for us was the data provided by the Union, our data provider. That it was for us it was priceless, because it's essential to have the weather forecast to know to predict pollution episodes.
Yeah, I mean, direct access to such high quality data sets, I mean, that's a win-win situation. Another question, thanks first for your answer of your first question. There's a couple of questions for you now. Do you already have, I mean, you obviously have paying customers, or how many is the question, and how difficult or easy is it to sell your product to the cities? Is there a demand, like, do they really feel as well that they need to change the air quality, and how easy is it for you?
Yeah, we have different kind of customers. We're selling to research institutions. We're also selling to private companies that are providing technology to clean air. And then also, obviously, we are also selling to cities. It's a B2G, a business to government, so it's not easy. You have to go through a tender, but tenders are appearing, and they are asking for a specific secondary networks. That this is what especially we're providing. So it's an emerging market, and we hope that in the future months and years, we will have these kind of solutions implemented in a lot of cities.
Nice. One very last question, because I knew due to the whole situation worldwide we have now, I don't know technically wise, but the question came up, would your technology be useful to identify any COVID particles or any COVID in general to fight this problem? Could this technology somehow used as well?
So not directly, but indirectly. Let me show, because it has been seen that in places where there is more pollution and people is not so healthy, and there are more people with problems with the COVID-19. So we are not identifying, obviously, with our technology. We are measuring air pollution, NO2, NO, CO, and so on. We cannot measure the COVID directly, but in zones where if you can identify hotspots and you can clean it, then it's better place to live, and better place where there will be no problems with the COVID-19 or any other pandemic that can come in the future.
Okay, yeah, definitely. As we all know, probably there was a link between air pollution as well and the transmission of this outbreak. Anyways, so much of our scientific input. Josep, I thank you very much for your interesting product, and we are all happy to have to live in cities that are not polluted anymore. And thanks.
Thank you very much.
Your pitch, and see you soon. Bye bye. I have now WaterJade on the agenda, which is our next startup, and now Matteo, it's your time. Hi, Matteo. Nice to see you again.
Hello, Andre. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Very nice seeing you again. You sit comfortably in your chair, hopefully, for your pitch. Nice. Another interesting pitch in front of us, I guess. It has something to do with climate and water as well. So that's a very trendy topic. And Matteo, I think I leave you with the audience and tune out. We can see your screen if you go into the full screen sharing mode.
Yeah.
Then perfect.
Okay.
Very good. I tune out. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for the kind introduction, and good afternoon to everybody. It's a pleasure for me to present our project WaterJade, water prediction for hydropower and water utilities. How much water is there and when will it become available? This is the key question that most water managers are asking to manage their plants, because they need to optimize the level of the reservoirs or the constraints, but also to protect their plants from extreme events. But the answer to this question is not so easy, because not only meteorology plays a role, but also the water manager needs to take into account also the aspects of the water, of the hydrological components, like the snow present and also the residence times of water in the catchment. And how do they normally do? Well, for snow monitoring, they usually organize campaigns, measurement campaigns, but these are very costly and subject to very strict safety regulations. And for the inflow prediction, they usually use a past to future approach. That means that they just simply take the historical data and project them into the future. But with climate change, that is going to be very risky, because the hydrological pattern of rivers has changed, and this can lead to very tricky situations like waste of water or penalties. And this is exactly what happened in Germany in the summer of 2018. When the low level of the River Rhine caused enormous losses to many companies, losses that could have, let's say, saved with a better prediction. So here comes our solution, WaterJade. We take the full advantage of the big data available out there, like satellite images, weather predictions, and in situ stations. All these data are then processed and are feeding a modeling chain comprising physical models and artificial intelligence. The results is that we can predict the water without sending out people to measure the snow, for instance, and this saves costs and also complies with the regulations. But also our inflow forecast is totally compliant with climate change, and that allows to optimize the level of the reservoir and reduce the penalties. During the incubation, we have been working with Emasesa, the water utility of Seville, and we have developed a solution that is capable to predict the water inflow on all 6 reservoirs, and also optimize the level of the reservoir according to the water demand from the populations. And we could reduce the error by 40%. So if we project on the one hand the water cycle component, and on the other hand the lead time of the service, we can see that there are several clusters of services present, like snow monitoring, short-term or seasonal forecast. Well, what we have a difference is that we cope with all water cycle components and all lead times. That makes the system of WaterJade, thanks to its architecture, more simplify the procedure of purchasing for the customers, because we have all everything there, and then the system can be applied wherever in the world, on whatever climate, and also on whatever plant configuration. The market is very big. On the left you see the water utility, on the right the hydropower, but in the niche of prediction service we estimated in 1.5 billion per year. How do we sell the service? Well, the customers can log in and just subscribe to the predictions that they desire. And in 2021, we would like to add also a software as a service business model and a decision support system. And for this, we're asking for a round of investment of 500K. So we have already experience. We are serving the second and third largest hydropower company in Italy, and also we're working with Emasesa, and we get visibility from many startups awards. And this is our team. I have more than 10 years experience in the water sector, and then we have other enthusiastic team members dealing with development and customer care. So this is all by my side. Thank you very much, and I would like to thank very much Data Incubation and Emasesa for the help they have given into the program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, pressing issue. We have a few questions for you as well. I think the first one actually you answered at the very last. That was who was your EDI partner on this board. So you named it MSCISA. So yeah, and how did you get access to this kind of data? Of course, they provided the data to you.
Yes.
Sorry for answering that actually. So let's get into questions maybe that are still unanswered. There's another one. How does the European Union actually, or what's your opinion on this topic? How does public funding or the European Union supports startups in the sustainability sector? Do you have any special treatments, or is there any special programs for you?
Yeah, well, we have been participating in the Climate Cake, and this program, Climate Cake, I think is very much suited for all startups working in the green tech industry that are somehow fighting climate change and reducing greenhouse emissions. So for whoever out there has an idea on this sector, I would encourage to look at this Climate Cake. And also there was a call of the former SME instrument last month, I guess, that was specifically oriented to the green technology, and so the Green Deal is called. So I think that in the European Union there is a lot of attention on these themes at the moment.
Definitely, that mirrors the opinion that we have as well, especially with the upcoming Horizon Europe framework, where they want to target especially those sectors like climate and energy and mobility issues. Matteo, thanks for your input. For the audience, we will start a new poll as well. You know how it works now. We had already one poll during our keynote speech, and now we want to launch a second one to have your opinion on some questions or on a question. So Matteo, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre.
See you soon. And now I want to ask Lauri to show his face. We have the poll working as a side project while you are still on our stage. So hi, Lauri of Feeling Stream. Nice to see you again. And Fabian Westerheide already sort of mentioned already some fields that you are actually working in too. So, but this is it from my side. I leave you now with the rest and show the audience who you are and what you do and what you did. Sorry.
Thank you, Andre.
Thanks.
Let me share the slides. So, thank you, Andre. Thank you for EDI for this opportunity. I'm Lauri Ellison, co-founder I'm co-founder of Feeling Stream, and Feeling Stream helps or converts customer conversation into sales. So every business has two main challenges: how to find the new sales leads and how to keep customers returning. And this is all what you need to have for your business. But it's really hard to do that because customers are actually approaching to you and they talk to you a lot. They talk to your service agents, and it's difficult to actually follow every single step in order to find out, is it okay, or is it good, or is it bad? So Feeling Stream is creating a real-time insight for enterprises to improve the revenue and keep customers returning. We have built an engine that listens every single call or every single email or every single chat or chatbot channel and evaluates, are there some upsell leads or win-back leads or quality issues that we need to handle? This is our view on top of the transcribed customer calls for specific things where, for example, agents are busy or there's some topic arised or anything else that may actually arise during the conversation is visible for business side. Let me share you a couple of samples what we have done with our actual customers. First of all, there's one study with 600,000 customer calls. We evaluated what is the sales capability today. We figured out that there's 1 out of 10 calls that are evaluated as a sales leads. But with FeelingStream, we're able to identify 3 out of 10. For this study, it was additionally 120,000 customer sales leads. Another one, our data provider during the EDI, Telia, largest telecom operator in the Nordics, 1.2 million subscribers in Estonia. They have several items on their table. How to find more sales or how to improve the bot service. With our cooperation, we were able actually, first of all, save them a lot of agent time with automation, but also ensure that every call that they have actually gets analyzed. We also improve the chatbot satisfaction with 25%. Another sample, a large insurance company, Ergo, in the Baltics. They have an issue that revenues are dropping, customers are churning to competitors, and the sales reps are actually selling with lower margin. So having that kind of visibility that FeelingStream can provide, they would be able to increase their revenue by 15% as expected, and actually reduce unwanted calls a lot. But that was not all. We also, during the program, we actually cooperated heavily with Estonian digital government. We have had 6 different pilots with government offices. And there is Ott Velsberg from government office, chief data officer for Estonian government, actually has said that this is an immediate large value and insight for improving the digital services. And how we do that? It's actually a proprietary, our own speech-to-text solution that actually does it for Nordic languages, small languages with pretty complex structures like Finnish, Russian, Swedish, Estonian. We have very good level of accuracy for phone calls with punctuation and capitalization. And in order to comply with the GDPR, we actually anonymize the calls. Over 18 last months, we have transcribed 600,000 hours of customer phone calls. Just during the July, we will have additionally 300,000 hours of calls transcribed. This is really big numbers in the region. Our business is based on a subscription fee and volume pricing for transcription. And in average, we see that the customer will pay for 10 to 15K per month. And we have a marvelous team who is actually able to deliver this AI-driven speech-to-text and business sales or win-back leads discovery in those small languages in the Nordics. So FeelingStream builds a machine that actually listens every single call or every single email or chatbot conversation and actually does it the same as the business person would do. Where can I sell more? Where can I win back the customers? Where are my customer quality issues? Thank you.
All right, Lauri, thanks for your pitch. You can now stop sharing your screen. Nice. Same for you. We have some questions by the audience. One would be especially, why have you chosen to participate in an incubation program and specifically the European Data Incubator? Because you are quite a big startup already. So what was your, why did you choose this program?
First of all, we're really delightful to have selected into the program. We actually selected this. We haven't had any past experience with EU projects. So that was a interesting challenge to take. And I'm really delightful for the coaching and the feedback that we have had, as our approach is extend our language space out of the Nordics to also large languages in Europe. So therefore, we thought that it's actually a good step to raise the flag and say, hey, we can actually deliver a state-of-the-art AI for Europe as well, because we do it already for complex situations like small languages in the Nordics.
All right, nice. As you are from Estonia, obviously, there's another question as well, because we all know the Baltic Seas are very digital already compared to maybe Central Europe. So one question is, what makes the startup landscape in Estonia special in relation to other European countries? Is there any, why are you such digital leaders, more or less, to say?
That's actually a good question. You know, a lot of people in the Nordics, they like to be remotely. So instead of visiting the government office, it's always better to do it at home, and people like that. Therefore, on the other hand, in the Nordics, it's pretty simple to change the citizens' behavior. So if you launch the, let's say, digital signature, which is actually Estonia did already in 2001. Everyone uses that. We have elections carried out with digital IDs and remote voting for more than 30% for last elections. So people are open to have that kind of remote things. But the issue is that if you push your customers or citizens out of your office, it's the question how you follow. Are they happy? Do they really get the service? And therefore, that's the place where we come in. It's not always a super good that if you push the customers out, because now you need to follow how you behave or how are you happy with your remote service.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, it's hard to grasp as soon as you push them out. Thanks, Lauri, for your input and your pitch of Feeling Stream. See you very soon, and it was a pleasure having you on this incubator for the last months. And now I'm asking Vasco on stage.
Hi.
From the very north, now we go to the very south, more or less, southwest to Portugal, where it's warm and sunny. And yeah,
right now, actually, I'm melting here.
Could you switch on your camera? Let me see you, please.
Yes. Just can you see me?
Yeah, now it is. Okay, you're melting. Very good. We had this melting temperatures 2 weeks ago. Now temperature
it's about
dropped,
40 degrees outside, and I have a giant window right in front of me. So I try to block it, but still, it's very warm.
Nice. Yeah, thanks, Vasco, for being with us. And before you start melting, I would suggest we start with your pitch, so you can go straight into your pitch.
All right. So,
yes.
Hi. So my name is Vasco Porto, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sensei. And at Sensei, we've built a technology that allows any existing store to be autonomous and checkout free. Let me explain you why we think that autonomous stores will be a market standard in the next 5 years. So first, the industry itself. So the retail industry, while it has several different players with huge revenues, it's also an industry with small margins, and where they compete among themselves with price. And that's, of course, that's not sustainable. And we believe that it reached the peak very recently to a point that it created what it's called the retail apocalypse. So that's a big driver for change. Second, it's that there's several different retailers that are also technology companies like Amazon, but there's others that obviously look at the physical retail with interest. So they've grown a lot as digital and e-commerce players in the retail space. But of course, the physical space as also a big bunch of the revenues still come from the stores, and they come up with and they started entering in the space of the traditional retailers, but they didn't come up into this space with a normal approach. They came with an approach with less operational costs, much better margins, and most of all, with a value proposition for the end customer that it's incomparable, which is much better. And third is us, customers. So we, while a couple of years ago, we will gladly take a car and spend one day in the weekend buying for the entire week. Currently, none of us is willing to do that. So people value their time, but they value convenience. And right now, the bigger formats and where people prefer to buy is the urban formats, normally smaller and spread out through the city. And if you see here on the slide on the right, you'll see that there's several different big retailers, European retailers, that are now shifting into that format. And they are betting on opening several different stores in urban formats, which are much more convenient and most of all, much more digital. So what is autonomous stores? Autonomous stores, it's the ultimate experience and the ultimate shopping experience. So essentially, you do shopping like you always did. So you come in, you pick whatever you want, you put it in the bag. But the difference is when you're ready to go, you just leave, that we can charge you automatically. So essentially, it's the normal shopping experience, but improved because you don't have to waste any time. You don't have to wait in line. When you're ready to go, you just leave. And obviously, for the retailer, when we call autonomous, it means that we leverage and we collect a wealth of data from the stores that allows the retailer to automate several different tasks. Things like compliance now are fully transparent. So you have full transparency to all of the activity that is happening at the store. And this data allows you to follow the compliance of your planogram, understand better your customer, better your assortment, customize your layout according to the traffic and to the localization of the store. Probably at this point, you're wondering how the technology works. So essentially what you're seeing here, this is a simulacrum that we have in our office. So this is one of the cameras of a network of cameras that we have hanging on the ceiling. And on these cameras, we have several different computer vision models running on the background. And what they are doing is essentially, they are making sure that whenever a customer takes a product out of the shelf, that same product is added to a virtual basket that is individual per customer. And in the same way, when the customer puts some product back on the shelf, that same product goes back into the store inventory. And it's between picking and dropping these products that we build your basket, and that we make sure that once you leave the store, we can automatically charge you that same basket, so you don't have to wait in line. So if you look here on the top right, you'll see the granularity and the quality of the data that we are collecting in real time from the store. But if you look below, this is the biggest value that we can offer. So if you see below on the right, you'll see just normal customers taking products out of the shelf. So this means that we don't impose and we don't change anything on your regular shopping experience. We just make it better because we save you time on the way out. So this means no sensors, no scanning apps, no technology whatsoever. So it's the next step in technology. We make it fully ubiquitous, fully invisible for the customer. It's just there, but to improve the way you shop, to improve your life and time. So in terms of a company, technology and the market, altogether we have worked and studied institutions like MIT and Harvard. We have built technologies for banks and big corporations, and altogether we have more than 200 scientific publications, mostly in computer vision, computer science, and data integration. And essentially, with this, we are here to help, essentially helping retailers merging two important realities, which is the emotion that you get from the physical and the efficiency that you can get from the digital. Saying this, happy to answer any question, and thank you for listening to me. And that's about it.
Vasco, very nice. Yeah, great technology. There's, of course, a couple of questions that are arising. The first one is your product already being used in real stores?
It's being used in real stores, not live. It will be very soon live. Okay,
nice. And my personal question to you is, I mean, we know that, I don't know, Amazon or no, is it Walmart? I don't know, some American players work on the same technology. How do you see the impact maybe to your application?
If I tell you the story of the company, so 2 years ago, we were trying to sell this, and it was really, really hard to sell technology because computer vision on its own was a very random technology and not applied to retail or to any end industry whatsoever. At the time, Amazon came up with a video of the Amazon Go, and that's exactly the timing where everything changed for us, because suddenly there was a market. So having a player like Amazon Go in this space is actually very good for us, because otherwise, if there wasn't a player pushing for it, it would be much more difficult for a small startup like us to actually have customers, to have a market to go into.
Okay, yeah, probably you. This fight will be a strong fight, but there's a lot of shares in the market.
They are not competing, so they are retailers. So they are
okay.
of our customers. So they are not our competitors whatsoever.
Okay. But maybe at one point they probably will apply some technology like this. But fingers crossed for you. I didn't mean to say that there's no share in the market for you. Yeah, Vasco, thank you. I really like your product. It would be a pleasure to test it one day in live, how it works. Yeah, if I want to have a live test or anyone else, please reach out to Vasco of Sensei Tech. Great startup, and thank you for being here today. And we keep in contact and see you very soon.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for all the people in EDI too. You were great.
Thanks, Vasco. We have 2 more startups, and then we are actually done with the pitches. So we kept in time. Now it is Paul's turn to show up, and he is the co-founder of SMAP Energy. And yeah, great to see you. Now we are traveling to the UK or London. Yeah. So yes, we do a full round trip in Europe. If we can't travel, then we at least do it in a digital way. Thanks, Paul, for tuning in. And now I would like to ask you to pitch your product.
Certainly. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Paul Monroe. I'm one of the co-founders of SMAP Energy. SMAP stands for Smart Meter Analytics Platform. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about what we do and the experience that we had in the EDI program. So by 2022, there's going to be over 1 billion smart meters installed worldwide. This is approximately 80% of the households across much of Europe, US, and a lot of other major markets. And there's a lot of opportunities that smart meters and the data they're generating, there's a lot of opportunities for this particular data to be used to make the energy sector more efficient. Virtually every single part of the energy pipeline is going to be affected by this, from generation all the way down to individual retail or even office level decisions. However, the issue with this is that the utilities are struggling to fully utilize the data. And there's a number of reasons for this. It's everything from being able to, or not being able to effectively get a hold of the data in a nice format or being able to share it. There's difficulties with sourcing data science talent. There's difficulties even with getting the approval for internal initiatives for projects that in some cases may even get mothballed years later. So what we propose to get around this is a software as a service solution, smart meter analytics platform that's focused on helping unlock the value of smart meter data for these utilities. And the way it works is it's a software platform with a monthly subscription service. And there's a number of different applications that the utility customer can subscribe to. These applications are both geared toward the internal operations of the utility and also toward the external engagement with the customers. But each application is developed individually so that the utility can pick the ones that best suit their situation. The unique value that we have by going through in this manner is that we don't need to rely on any sort of hardware. We can rely on just the standard smart meter data that's becoming ubiquitous from all the smart meter rollouts across the world. We also build our solution so that we have only a minimal reliance on additional data, for example, about the customer. We also have better cost effectiveness as a result, because we're able to kind of centralize a lot of the efforts for application development and distribute them more widely as a result. And finally, because it's a platform approach with multiple applications, we can very easily adapt and build and add new applications, which makes the platform very competitive, and the utilities who are using it as a result, they can be more competitive in their operations as well. Now, the background of as a company that we have is we've been operating since 2016. We have over 25 members or so now across 3 offices, so London, Tokyo, and Beirut. We're serving a client base of multiple utility companies worldwide. We have a number of research publications both in our pipeline and that we've published historically. We were previously affiliated with the University of Cambridge, and we still continue that relationship today. And we have a number of other partnerships and programs that we've done that have the industrial connections across the different markets that we're targeting. The experience that we have as a team is that we've been very focused on smart meter data specifically for a little over 6 years now or so. My co-founder even got his PhD in studying the applications of the data here. But the team that we've sourced for this is actually very specialized in this area. And what we did is we used this expertise when we started the project through EDI. We worked with the Polish distribution company called Energa Operator. They were having a challenge where they had smart meter data that was becoming incrementally available across the different regions, but the issue was it wasn't always there fully or nicely, or it wasn't coming as frequently as every half hour. And we basically needed to build an application that would pick up and fill the rest of the data for this data set. And that's what we did. Basically, over the course of the program, we developed and tested our application using this data, and we actually ended up achieving a result that is comparable or even exceeding a lot of the industry standard for the research in this area. This result is actually published on our website now, in case you want to view it. And really what we've done also as a background from the program is that we actually were able to leverage this into other operations across our portfolio of clients. So we opened up new client relationships, we did fundraising, we increased our revenue, and we grew with the team as a result of a lot of the work that we were doing in the program. Here's a sample of some of the press releases that you can see. They're mostly in Japanese, but we actually did pick up quite a bit of positive press as a result of the program. So we're very grateful for that. So I'm Paul Monroe. I'm here to answer any other questions that you have about the company or our experience in the program. Thank you.
Boy, thanks, mate. I could tell that you have changed the pitch deck. Very nice. Thanks for that. We have 2 interesting questions for you as well in our pocket. So the first one is how, or if at all, has or will your strategy adapt to the Brexit? Is there any future limitations for you on the horizon, or how do you see this political shift having an impact on your strategy?
So from a business development strategy, we aren't too concerned about it. It's more from an operational basis. So we have to think about, okay, how are we going to adjust our hiring strategy? How are we going to, that's actually probably the biggest one, I would say. It seems to be moving in our favor, actually, and making things quite a bit easier from some of the way they've proposed some of these the new policies that are coming into place, but we have to see how that's going to shape up. But other issues like GDPR, like we've always intended to comply with that. That's going to be our standard anyways. We will still need to see, but largely we think it's going to be something that we can be flexible to adapt to.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds very positive. There's always a solution, and you're a problem solver. One quick question again, that we have to move forward. What is the benefit of being a spin out of the university? I mean, you are coming from a very excellent university, and was there any special support for you from the beginning?
Yeah, so we actually had our first offices out of the incubator space that the university ran. So we were able to take advantage of that in the real early days. The other big point is the affiliation with the university gave us a lot of credibility, especially going and trying to sell in international markets. For example, we have a large customer base in Japan, and it was always immediately recognizable the university name and affiliation, and that really helped us gain credibility. Perhaps in some case, it really helped us accelerate a lot further, and that was actually, I think, a very strategic advantage that we had. So we've always loved and really appreciated the support from the university in the process.
Yeah, very nice. I know it from my personal background as well, working in a startup center, sort of in a university, helping spin-offs. So there's good support actually in our universities, be it in Germany or be it in England. Paul, thank you for tuning in here as well. And it was a pleasure with you on the EDI project. And we probably will see or hear from each other in the future. Paul,
thank you.
See you. Now we have our last guest on stage. That is Daniele from Aindo. And now we are flying back south to Italy.
Hello, Andre.
To the warm country. Hi, Daniele.
Hi.
Nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you too.
Good. Are you ready for giving us your input?
Absolutely, yes. Last but not least.
Yeah, I know that was a long waiting for you, but
it was nice. I enjoyed the first talk and all the speeches of the other guys. It's always nice to see how things evolved and how other people also evolved during the same path.
Nice. Yeah, very patient. All right, Daniele. I mute myself, and now it's your turn.
Okay, tell me if you can see it.
All right. Not yet.
No. Nope. Oh, 1 sec. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. Take time.
Yes. Tell me if you now can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does work now.
All right. So welcome everybody. First of all, my name is Daniele Panfilo, and I am one of the founders of Aindo. Aindo is an AI startup of an Italian PhD school in Sissa, and I'm here today to introduce to you our new innovative product. So we are small, but our goal is big. Our mission is to unleash the power of sensitive data. While data is widely regarded as a precious commodity, in order to realize its full potential, data need to be analyzed and with advanced analytic technique, like for instance, artificial intelligence or machine learning. However, most companies tend to lack internal machine learning capability, and they usually rely on a third-party data analyst. The involved transfer of data between the company incurs technical and legal difficulties, for instance, due to privacy concerns. Currently, a common method to circumvent such issue is data anonymization. However, data anonymization has some problems. For instance, data anonymization can be slow, costly, requires an expert, destroys part of the information contained in your data, and even more importantly, data anonymization does not even ensure a sufficient level of legal compliance. For this reason, at Aindo, we have decided to develop a novel software product capable of generating basically synthetic data that in a secure and confidential manner can reproduce all the statistical patterns present in any given dataset. We name such a system Parrot. How does it work? Parrot is based on latest advancement in deep learning generative model. Basically, the software takes in input any type of tabular structured dataset and assemble automatically and train automatically a machine learning model which generates a synthetic version of the same data, but that retain the same statistical and mathematical properties of the original one. At this point, basically, this generated data can be disclosed to third party without breaching any client trust. The software is available in 3 formats. Through a web platform, we serve the software is available as a services. Moreover, Parrot could be, for instance, acquired as a paper license-based deployed on customer premises. Or even, finally, we sell the software in the form of a Python libraries. Now the question, how do we reach the market? So first, we have been offering AI service to the industry since more or less 2018, and this already provided us with a strong network of potential early adopters. It is in fact among our own clients that we experience firsthand the need for a system like Parrot. Some of our customers in our portfolio are now actually engaged in testing the software. Secondly, we of course rely on industry-proven marketing techniques such as trial period for conversion, public appearance for client and reach and so far. In particular, a couple of weeks ago, we were among the 10 finalists of the Collision from Home event, which is one of the main World Startup Conference. We attracted the interest of many different VC, client, and potential partners. What's the current stage? During the ADI program, we worked with VRT, which has been our data provider. We had a very great relationship with them, and actually we successfully tested our system on their data. We are now on the second batch of tests still with VRT, and we are also validating the solution with a major Italian hospital. Plus, we are in contact already with a wide set of key potential early adopters. So now just a bit overview of the team. I am also a very lucky founder like the other I've seen today, since I really can rely on a fantastic team. Despite our young age, we are a perfect blend of technology, data science, and business skill. We were able also to collect vast experience both in the academia and in the industry. To conclude, just a bit of traction in history, we submitted the idea of Power 2019 to the ADI program, which was actually a very good program. We were accepted, and in February/March 2020, we were among the 8 finalists that you see today. We received the grant, and now we developed the first MVP. We are actually close to release the second version of the software. We're in contact with different potential clients and VC, and we're actually ready to scale and grow up. Thank you very much for attention, and if you have some questions, I'm here to answer. All right. Stop
Daniele.
Yep. All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very interesting pitch. Yeah. You are a proper artificial intelligence partner.
Yeah, we have.
Nice.
We started actually offering consultancies where we seen this kind of need, because generally the company that we were working for had to go through a step of anonymization, or we had to give access to their own premises. So it was always a bit painful.
Yeah, nice. I have a question for you as well, before we go into the wrap up of today's event. The first question is to you: how do you ensure the customer can trust the quality of the synthetic data?
Okay, so first of all, we are, as you said, we are also a startup of university, so we're publishing article that basically proves that the performances over different type of machine learning tasks are preserved. Moreover, that we actually provide a dashboard with metrics in which customer can inspect actually the statistics and confront the statistics of the original data and the synthetic generated data. Moreover, this was part of this was actually also how it worked with the VRT. VRT had to build up a recommender system, basically based on the browsing history of their customer. So what we have done, they gave us the data, we provided a synthetic version of the same data, and then they tested the same recommender on both systems, and they saw that basically there was not such a huge drop in performance. Actually, you register a very small drop in performance below 10%. So this is general point, and of course it depends case by case about which is the usage that a specific customer wants to do with data.
All right, thanks. You are as fast as an Italian Vespa.
At the same time.
But I hope the audience didn't lose track. Sorry for that, but all good.
All right.
Why is yeah? And one last question.
Yeah.
Why is the rating is better here? How do you deal with bias?
Bias is basically what you want to avoid in general in machine learning. So this is a problem that affects all the AI community. So we try to be as without bias as possible. But if you train a model properly, generally bias is what you want to avoid, and generally you achieve this like in many other different industries. So and other different algorithms. So this is just a different type of just another algorithm, but still in the fields of AI. So this is basically not really a huge problem. If you do things properly, you don't get bias system.
Okay, nice, good wrap up. Yeah, we trust in you, and
thank you.
Thanks, Daniele, also from tuning in from Italy. Now we are wrapping up. That was the questions for you, Daniele. See you soon. Talk to you soon. As we have launched a poll in the middle of our startup pitches, We want to, of course, see the results that come up. So we asked the question of which of these governmental actions most promotes big data startups. So we had, oh wow, that's a tight race. So the first answer was offer support programs, yeah, like equity-free capital, like our European Data Incubator did. Provide synthetic public data sets so that startups would have more access to data. Yeah? So in the beginning, Fabian said we need more data. And yeah, thirdly, we have better aligned the education system to future skill demand. And the last answer was adopt laws in favor of data transition. So now the winner is just in the second to offer more support programs for data startups. So I guess there will be more programs in the future, as I mentioned earlier in our event in the introduction, that the European Commission is launching a new innovation framework with 100 billion honeypot, and that probably some chunk of that will go to innovative startups and scale-ups. As we all know, we need more unicorns. So I guess we are slowly coming to the end. We hope you enjoyed the future of data startups in Europe, that you enjoyed the pitches by the startups, and of course the valuable insights of Fabian. So to wrap it up, I mean, it's a very broad topic and how to shape the data economy in Europe. So there's probably no specific answer to that. But I have a couple of points that we collected during the event. So to wrap it up, as Fabian said, we should get rid of all the fear to use data. If we look into China, you know, they have bold investors and have fast technology. Maybe they are lacking behind in the private security areas, because we all know the deal that we don't actually want to provide public or private data that could be used. The current status quo in Europe is that we are based on a foundation already, you know, on an established industry. We have a cultural diversity, which we all love in Europe, and that we should keep to this status quo and a pool of knowledge. So as we learned earlier, Europe is better in science than in innovation. That was the European Commission at least said. So we have to build on this foundation and somehow make the transition more efficient by using those outcomes and transfer that to the market, and somehow work on a strategy to get more data into the market, or that everyone at least understand the pressing topic, that we can only flourish and keep up with maybe America or the US and China or Asia if we don't fall behind due to our fear. So we need more applications in our real life, so that we don't see it as a dangerous tool that wants to get rid of human mankind, so that it could help us. Fabian mentioned his perfect or ideal case would be that everyone could be freed of work due to artificial intelligence. And yeah, so we all have to exploit the benefits of big data. The politics have to work on that. Maybe provide a platform, a public platform, where startups could have access to huge amounts of data that gets collected in the public space, at least. Corporates, as in the incubation of, or as in the program of our incubator, more corporates need to understand that they are sitting on diamonds, yeah, on their data treasuries, and they need to open it and let if they lack the ability to work with the data and come up with new digital solutions, then at least partner with someone who is able to do that, in this case, data startups. So that's our answer, or no answer. So it is an open end. Yeah, it's like sitting in a movie in the cinema. Hopefully you already have a drink. It is 20 to 7, at least in Central European time. So we leave it open. We hope that you all have some takeaways of today's event, that you enjoyed the ride with us. And we are very happy that you tuned in big numbers and you participated with us. That was our goal, to engage with you via our Q&A tool and participate in our poll. Leave us some comment if you liked the event or where we could work on in the future. We all learn something new, and yeah, we are very relieved that it went very well. So you don't see the rest of the team. So I'm speaking for the whole team. I'm speaking for the whole consortium of the European Data Incubator. There's a lot of people behind the scenes dealing with those topics, working with us and the startups. So a big thank you for you. A big thank you for the team behind the scenes here and for putting everything up, for the technical infrastructure, for the social media campaigns. So that was my personal thank you for everyone. And with this now, oh yeah, thank you for your participation. Please share your feedback. I mentioned that already, but no worries. My help to my right-hand side just wanted you to know that again. That was it. I'm out, and hopefully see you very soon. And if you need any more information about the European Data Incubator, there's the contact form. You can leave your details there if you want to meet with one of our startups. The same procedure, that would be lovely. I think the startups would be very happy getting in contact with you also. And again, a big thank you to Fabian Westerheide for his very valuable input on how the European AI ecosystem stands in relation to the big players, China and America. So bye-bye, guys, and see you very soon.